Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Om Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabdhitamastu ma Vishāvahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the next Dhāraṇā is yatra yatra mano yāti bāhye vābhyantare'pi tatra tatra śivāvasthā vyāpakatvāt yasyati. Yatra yatra mano yāti bāhye vābhyantare'pi. Here in this place of apiva, there is another reading priye. That's apt reading. Okay, so we'll understand that. Tatra tatra śivāvasthā vyāpakatvāt yasyati. What does he say? Wherever the mind travels, whether it is internal or external, does not really matter. Wherever it travels, there in all those places, you have the inherent nature of Shiva, the Shiva Swarupa, because he is omnipresent. Since he is omnipresent, yasyati, where can the mind go? We already said. That's the meaning here. We already said. This śloka we quoted in another Dhāraṇā. Yatra yatra mano yāti. This Dhāraṇā we quoted in another Dhāraṇā. It will be seen there later. Anyway. Wherever the mind goes. At the beginning we said very clearly that this tantra is not interested in helping you to control your mind. Yoga aids you to control the mind. Tantra does not do it. Why? First reason. That is the reason we saw there. Only a person who has controlled the mind is capable of performing these upayas, anopaya, even the anopaya. Without the control of mind, you cannot perform even the anopaya. That is very clear. Okay, that is the first reason. The second reason is these upayas use all the states of mind for performing the dharana. Whatever be this mind, mental state, whatever be the thought function, whatever be the object it is associated with, whatever, does not really matter. In any situation, in every situation, the mind is trained to perform the meditation. That is what is the beauty here. Okay, so that is explained here in this Dhāraṇā and the following few Dhāraṇās very clearly. Yatra yatra mano yāti, ya prapane, to go. Wherever the mind goes. Yatra yatra means wherever. Wherever. Okay, wherever the mind goes. Where does it go? External. Bhye vābhyantare'pi. Or priye, oh dear, whether it is internal or external does not really matter. Whether it is internal or external. Internal or external means bhye, external. External means the external objects. Only to the external objects the mind goes. Because mind travels to the objects. It is its nature. And abhyantare'pa, or the internal objects, of course. So, wherever it is, tatra tatra śivāvasthā. In all those places, tatra, in all those places, śivāvasthā, the state of Shiva, that is how they normally translate it. It's not state of Shiva. The inherent nature of Shiva, in all those places you can see. How is it possible? Because he is giving the hetu, the reasoning, the fifth case, vyāpakatvāt. Because Shiva is all-pervading, omnipresent. Therefore, but wait, how can you, in all those places, Shiva be? Simple. Whatever you see, the external objects are seen in the state of waking. The internal objects are seen in the state of dreaming or deep sleep. Dreaming, actually. Okay. So I am not talking about the mental states. I am talking about the internal objects. If you take the mental state, even in daydreaming, it is kind of dreaming only, right? So the waking state or dream state, that is the two things. There you see the internal and external objects. Okay, that is done. Now, what is external? External is waking state, I said. What is waking state? Waking state is a state which has existence. Existence means Shiva. Because Satchidananda, it is his nature. Okay, so dream state is also Shiva, because without Shiva, it cannot have existence. Whether it is internal or external, whether it is waking or dream, they both have association with Shiva. Without Shiva's association, nothing can have existence, because all these are expansion of Shiva, right? So Vimarsha, we call it. Again and again I repeat the word Vimarsha. It's all expanse of Shiva. Now, in this situation, the objects in those states, waking state or dream state, what is that? Objects have no real existence. Like the reflection in the wall or reflection in the mirror. What wall? We'll come to that. The reflection in the mirror, like the reflection in the mirror, which is a vishvamdarpanadrishyamana nagarim, that is how it is said. When the reflection is in the mirror, at least you know that there is a reflection and there is a something reflected. In a wall, you don't see the difference of reflection. It is not getting reflected. It is a dull inert state. In the like the deep sleep state, nothing is getting reflected. So the waking state and dream state, things get reflected. This whatever is reflected, that is what is the creation. In fact, there is no real creation outside. That is what Shiva, so the Shiva Swarupa or the Shaiva Siddhanta, they accept. Okay, now waking state, Shiva associated. Whatever exists in waking state naturally will be associated with Shiva. Because if they need to have existence, they need to be associated with Shiva. So whether it is internal or external, if you say it exists, then it has association with Shiva. That is why it is said tatra śivāvasthā. In all those places, there is association with Shiva. Or there is a existence of Shiva, the nature, inherent nature of Shiva. Okay, now how do you say that it is there is in all those places, internal, external, the Shiva exists? Because vyāpakatvāt, because he is all pervading, omnipresent he is. Since Shiva is omnipresent, everywhere you can see Shiva. Now that is okay. If I see everywhere Shiva, then if there is nothing but Shiva, so should I see everywhere that Shiva? No, that is not what is intended here. Go yasyati. Where can the mind go? If mind understands, grasp that there is nothing other than Shiva, everything, whatever is seen is an expansion of Shiva or reflection in Shiva, where can the mind go? There is nothing else. Where can the mind go? From Shiva to Shiva, through Shiva, by Shiva. What is that? Shiva, from Shiva, to Shiva, through Shiva, by Shiva. All these are stupid ideas. There is no transformation possible. There is no travel possible. Okay, that is what is said. This is the Shakta Upaya. Though it is very close Upaya to Shambha Upaya, but this is accepted as Shakta Upaya. In this, Śivāvasthā goes on to explain about the samadhis, different kinds of samadhis accepted in yoga. In yoga, they accept two kinds of samadhis, savikalpa, nirvikalpa. In savikalpa, nirvikalpa, they accept this. All those different stories we are not interested in. We don't need that. Because this śivāvasthā is a samadhi state. You naturally, if you are focused on this, you understand that there is no way to go anywhere. Then that is your inherent nature. You don't run behind objects and things, right? So that is what is mentioned here. Now, next. Similar dharana to the previous dharana. Yatra yatrākṣamārgeṇa caitanyaṃ vyajyate vibhoḥ tasya tanmātradharmitvāccillayād bharitātmatā. Similar dharana to the previous dharana. Yatra akṣamārgeṇa caitanyaṃ vyajyate vibhoḥ tasya tanmātradharmitvāccillayād bharitātmatā. Wherever through the sense organs, the absolutes, the supremes consciousness manifests, there that being the inherent nature, the Shiva himself, when your mind subsides, you understand the Shiva himself. There is the absolute state of Shiva, the absolute nature of Shiva, the fulfillment of Shiva. Because bharitātmatā means that which is filled with. The absolute Shiva filled state is a manifest. Now, yatra yātrākṣamārgeṇa. Aksha normally means eyes. Eyes is an it's an implied word to the other sense organs. So, in the previous, bāhye vābhyantare'pi, whether it is internal or external is what is mentioned. Here, the difference is we are talking about the external objects. Okay. Now, caitanyaṃ vibhoḥ vyajyate. The vibhu means that which is omnipresent, all pervading. Caitanyaṃ, consciousness. Vyajyate, manifest. The consciousness of that which is omnipresent manifest. Wherever your sense organ goes, in all those places, that consciousness is what manifests. Tasya. Tanmātradharmitvāccillayād. Why can the consciousness manifest there? Because whatever you see, that object inherently is of the nature of Shiva. Dharmitvāt. Dharma means attribute. Dharmi means attributor. I'll explain this. Okay. You have a cloth. Okay. Now this cloth is a orange color. This is a handful. I can explain all these with reference to this cloth. It's a soft cloth, all that. Okay. The attributes of the cloth. It's a soft. It is orange in color. It is a of the size of a hand. All this. Okay. So the color, etc., color, size, etc., are dharma, attributes, and the cloth is the attributed dharmi. Cloth attributed dharmi, color, etc., attributes dharma. You understand what dharmi and dharma? In dharmi, the dharmas exist. In the attributed, the attributes exist. Okay. Now you are sure about what dharma and dharmi is. Now, all this which you see externally, they are expanse of Shiva. Vimarsha of Shiva. Meaning they are all attributes of Shiva. So these are all attributes. The pot, the cloth, which is seen as attributed, in reality is an attribute. And that is attribute for whom? Shiva. Not for what? For whom? For Shiva, they are attributes. Listen. So, tanmātradharmitvāccillayād, because only that dharmi alone exists. Other than that, there is nothing. They are all reflections. So, they don't have any real existence. Tanmātradharmitvāccillayād. Okay? Cillayād. When the mind subsides, chit means mind. When the mind subsides, merges, when it loses its existence, then bharitātmatā, the self is filled with the absolute. Meaning the absolute self is what is existent. So, tanmātradharmitvāccillayād, how can it be only of that attributed state alone? For this, the explanation in the Agama text is given in this way. Every Agama text explains this in the same way. Take this. What is sun? Sun is nothing but a solid form of brightness, light. An effulgence, when it is solidified, then that is what is called as sun. Okay. So, ghanibhuta, prakasha, effulgence, ghanibhuta, when it is solidified, when it is grouped, that is what is sun. So, if you take the reverse, we are not talking about the sun. When this is all chidghana, solid state of the consciousness, chit. When the solid state melts, expands, then that expansion or that melting is a vimarsha, and that is what you see as the creation. That is what is seen as creation. That is what is explained in the Agama Sutra. So the dharana which we saw is also a Shakta Upaya close to Shambha Upaya. Okay? Now, third, kṣutādyante bhaye śoke gahvare raṇādrute kutūhale kṣudhādyante brahmasattā mayi dasha kṣutādyante. Be careful here, the word should not be broken as kṣutādyante. Kṣuta etc. ante, at the end of kṣuta etc. That is how it will be interpreted if you break it improperly, wrongly. If you break it properly, kṣuta adyante, at the beginning and the end of kṣuta. Adi ante means at the beginning and the end. So at the beginning and the end of kṣuta, what is kṣuta we'll understand. Kṣuta, bhaye, śoke, gahvare, raṇādrute, kutūhale, kṣudhādyante, brahmasattā mayi dasha. Instead of brahmasattā mayi dasha, there is another reading, brahmasattā samīpagā. This is accepted by Śivāvasthā himself. Normally he does not give the different reading, but he says samīpagā iti pāṭhāntaram. There is another reading called samīpagā. That is proper actually. We'll understand what it is. kṣutādyante, adyante, we'll take that. At the beginning or at the end of sneezing, fear, sorrow, grief, or heavy sigh, then when you are running away from fight, when you are curious, or when you are hungry, thirsty, etc. In those different situations, at the beginning and at the end of these situations, when you concentrate brahmasattā mayi dasha, brahmasattā samīpagā, it will take you closer to the existence. It will take you closer to the Brahman. It will take you closer to the Shiva Swarupa. Kṣuta means sneezing. Adyante, at the beginning, at the point of beginning of the sneeze and the point of end of sneeze. This is a very interesting thing. I'll explain this. When you are about to sneeze, it is difficult to concentrate on anything else. If someone taps you, or if they slap you or something, or they touch you, then you will lose that momentum of sneeze. Sneezing is a pain, at the same time is a pleasure. When you are going to that peak of sneeze, there is a pleasure actually. So that is what he is bringing that. Okay. So kṣutādyante. So as I said, it is very difficult to focus on this sneezing. How to do it? See, if you had seen my old videos in Rishikesh, during the summer season or something like that, due to the pollens, I used to sneeze a lot. I had allergy. I used to sneeze a lot. Even in class, I'll be like that. I'll be teaching, okay, with watery eyes and watery nose, red eyes, etc. That's a different thing. So there is a bout of sneezing. X. The whole building will be trembling. That is the kind of earthquake effect, surround sound sneezing. Okay. So it is a very boring thing. Someone sees, oh, what kind of sneezing is this? It's a very boring thing. Okay. Even for me, it is a very boring thing. So I invented a technique in sneezing. What? Sneezing, a technique in sneezing? Sneezing is something which there can be no technique. It is natural. Yes, true. But I changed something in the sneezing, which is I added a vowel to each sneezing. So first sneeze, if I'm going to X, then the second one will be X, 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 Ox. It will be one or other vowel or consonant, diphthong. So in this way, there is a variation. Now, if you are only focused on that, you will be able to do the variation. Kṣutādyante, you will be able to catch the beginning and the end. Okay? So, bhaye, at the fear, when the fear arises at the beginning and the end, you will start palpitating or you will start trembling, etc. The pressure rises at the beginning and the end of bhaya, fear. Śoke, at the beginning and end of the grief, sorrow. You will have a heavy, congested chest. That is the sign. Gahvare. Gahvare means, it can mean when you are facing a deep, something very deep, okay? Or it can also mean a heavy sigh, or when you feel completely lost. That is what is gahvare. Okay? raṇādrute. Rana means normally battlefield. When you are running away from battlefield, actually you don't need to go to battlefield. Any fight, when you are running away, turning away yourself from the battlefield, it can be for the fear of battlefield, or you are not interested. That also is accepted here. You are away, turning yourself away from the fight. Okay? raṇādrute. That is why initiating a fight and fighting is not the important thing. Taking time to leave the fight is important, because fighting is only a person who is not a coward can do it, but only a brave person can run away, leave the fight, not run away, leave the fight. Okay, so raṇādrute means leaving the fight. Kutūhale. Kutūhale means when you are curious, is it what it is? So you should not be curious of everything. When you are curious of something, at the beginning and the end of the curiosity, you have to watch. Kṣudhādyante. Kṣudha means hunger. It can be thirst, it can be whatever. So in those situations, meaning at every situation, you should be very watchful. You should be very careful. You should be very vigilant. So only when you are vigilant, you will be able to catch the beginning and the end. I said in a previous Dhāraṇā that when you are able to catch the beginning of the sleep or the end of the sleep, or beginning of waking state or end of waking state, then that is what is Shiva state, right? So similarly, at the beginning of each of these moments, when you are able to beginning and the end of each of these moments, if you are going to watch carefully, if you are able to catch it, you are very vigilant in any activity, every activity. Brahmasattā, then that everything is brahmasattā, everything is existence itself, because you are very careful, you are not going to miss anything. So you will be able to grasp that existence, that Shiva nature in everywhere. Therefore, it will lead you to the Shiva himself. Samīpagā means lead you closer to the Shiva himself. This is a Shambhavupaya, pure Shambhavupaya. This is not Shaktopaya. We are not going to camouflage it with Shaktopaya. This is a pure Shambhavupaya. Okay. If you are very vigilant and you are able to understand all these vimarsha, all these expands as the Shiva's nature, you are awake. When you don't see that, then you are still asleep, meaning you are still ignorant, you are an idiot. That's the idea. Okay, we'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.